To be back at Nippert Stadium, that's for sure. 2 weeks on the road again. We had that kind of early in the season too. We had some obviously home stretch and then a couple road games, then back at home for 2, and then on the road again for 2. And so we're excited about obviously being back at Nippert and the energy and the excitement. Obviously that will be and has been in Nippert Stadium all year. So Tulane was again a win on the road, which is always a great thing. And to be honest with you, after watching the film and evaluating last week's game, I'm much more excited about what our guys did. And sometimes people don't always recognize that and realize that. But to be honest with you, how we played the second half, our ability to make some adjustments on some things we hadn't seen, I was more proud of our guys and their ability to handle that, as well as our coaches. To be able to go into halftime and kind of have to regroup a little bit and do some things a little bit different, even offensively, just because of the limited number of opportunities they had in the first half. They had to kind of hone down on the things they needed to do, and defensively we had to make some some adjustments. And really in the second half, really we're completely under control because the first half was a little more difficult and they moved the football, and we've seen that be something that frustrates us in the past. But nonetheless, it was some really good adjustments that were made. And I know after the game, I'll give you guys, I had to apologize to our offense, really to our team, for that 4th and 1 where we, even my wife harassed me. She asked me, like, so tell me why you did this. And I'm like, I know. I apologize to the team afterwards that that's not exactly who we are and who we want to be. But we ended up trying to draw them off sides and didn't get it, and then ended up punting. And I'm just grateful that our guys got me out of the hole by obviously getting a stop, getting the ball back, and then taking the ball down. So nobody really asked about it, but I'll just bring it up before you guys ask. But more than anything, now we're ready. We're excited to move on to Tulsa this week and a rematch of last year's championship game where, to be quite honest, obviously it was a battle, and in some ways they outplayed us. And so this is a great challenge for us coming back home. And a lot of exciting things, but more than anything, we're excited about the challenge we've got in front of us with Tulsa.
College Game Day will be here, obviously a big deal, and kind of shows the position that this program is in. Can you kind of share with us how you found out and then how you shared it with your group?
They find out before I do. I didn't have to tell them. I got a little bit of word Saturday night that there was a possibility, but I had also heard that before. That's not something I put a lot of stock into, and my mind immediately starts to think about all the other things that come along with it, and how do 18 to 22-year-olds handle it? How does all the different things that it brings upon the guys that sit in these seats? So it's not as much of an enjoyable thing because instantly you go into your mind to say, okay, now how do we handle this and how do we deal with it? And we want to be able to enjoy it. We want to be able to embrace it. But obviously it's a great thing, and it's a great thing not just for our program, but for I think our community and especially our campus.
How do you tell a room of 18 to 22-year-olds to ignore the hype?
Well, you just try to keep reiterating the things, and you don't say ignore because they can't ignore it. There's nobody that has any social media that can ignore about anything that goes on, and so it's not as much ignore it, it's as much as don't let it change who you are and how you do things. And I've challenged them a little bit to let their minds rest in some ways, and I don't know if we ever can. At least they have a much more difficult time, and to be able to kind of even just to set their phone down at the challenge was at 10 o'clock at night, and when you walk in the building here to see if you can challenge yourself to set it down and don't pick it back up or look at it until practice is over, until you're leaving. And not going around checking guys. I didn't say I wasn't going to watch to see if anybody was doing it, but the challenge was not that I don't want you on social media. I want you to some way, somehow give your mind a break. Because when you walk in these doors, I know that we don't give your mind a break. We're throwing video at you, we're talking game plans, we're talking adjustments, and it's just a constant barrage onto your mind. And 18 to 22-year-olds' bodies don't break down. Yes, there's injuries and things like that. They're going to have energy to play. It's just can they control the mind, and can they keep their mind fresh? So I guess I'm not saying ignore the hype. I'm saying understand that if you continue to ingest it all, it will wear you out, and it will mentally wear you out, and sometimes makes you not enjoy the things that you have an opportunity to do.
As a coach, is it frustrating that so much of this season seems to be viewed through this prism of playoff and rankings and hype and
I don't know, because I try not to think about and look at it, but it does. It does apply more things. It does apply a little bit more of a, I'd say pressure. Pressure is what you apply to yourself, I really do believe. But obviously the attention of all those kinds of things makes it a little bit different. And, I don't know that there's any other way of dealing with it. And, this is what you want. This is what you strive for. This is where you want to build to. And then once you get it, you can't be that one that says, no, I don't want it. But we got to make sure that we can handle it. Us, not just 18 to 22-year-olds, coaches as well. There's things that can be draining. Coming down here and doing this, and then going upstairs and doing another one, and then go do this one, and then that one, and it's like, hold on now. I can't lose the most important thing are the 18 to 22-year-olds, the energy you have for those guys, and the time that you have with them, and you're prepared, and with all the other things that are thrown on everybody's plate. So it's all a great thing. We just got to continue to be able to handle it and make sure that more than anything that we're ready to roll when Saturday comes around.
Do you think that all the noise that has surrounded you guys, especially in the last couple of weeks, about having to win, and not only having to win, but to win big style points, the whole nine, has that affected them on the field?
I don't know. I mean, you can't. The hardest thing, you can't get inside their heads. I think that you try to evaluate things and you try to look. And we talked a little bit about it Sunday, and I told them quite honestly, I'll take a 1-point win this week. I don't care what anybody else thinks. And so our mentality has got to be who we are, do what it is that we do. And what does that mean? That means we can't let somebody outside of here tell us what we should be and how we should do things. Whether that means, what you should do offensively or what you should do defensively or how you should try to win or how you should, this, that, the other thing. You can never live up to an expectation of somebody outside of, what it is within your family or live up to somebody else's expectation. We said it going the year. Let's continue to keep the expectations that we have here, and not knowing how this whole thing was going to go, but even in camp, don't make sure we don't try to live up to somebody else's expectation. We know what our expectations are. We know what it is that we want, and no matter what happens throughout the season, we got to make sure that we remember who we are.
One of the things that comes with having success like your team has had over the last few seasons is that you start to get a little bit of the target on your back, especially within your conference play, and then you might have these teams that are throwing things at you that it's not been on film before. In some ways, just preparing for games, has it become harder over the course of the season as people have realized, yes, this team is legit?
I think in twofold. I think the last couple weeks, different. Obviously, Navy and a triple option is different. Last week, we've had some situations where quarterbacks have been out, or you haven't known what quarterback was going to be in, and so you're not sure exactly what you're preparing for and how you're preparing. And to be quite honest, it's not just that people change. I mean, maybe they changed a little bit last week because obviously the quarterback situation that they had offensively, and then they have a game plan to say, what do we have to do to win the football game? And sometimes I've been there before. That hey, let's slow this thing down. Let's get this thing to the fourth quarter. Let's put a lot of pressure on people. And see what happens at the end. And, so maybe we've been played a little bit different at times, but that's why it's really, we got to kind of hone back in and make sure we focus on the things that we do. I think the biggest thing is just recognizing that, what I believe that, maybe a team has been playing at this level, and then when you pop on the film and you play them, and I really do believe that we've had guys that, played above what I've seen on film. And it's just, is that because, you're the returning champs of the league? Yeah, it probably is, and everybody going into the league wants to beat the returning champs, and that's something we've never had before. And then you add a little bit more onto, some of the attention that the national people and media give you. I think it just adds a little more fuel to some of their fires. But all things that you got to be able to handle.
And two-parter, Luke, if I may. The first one being, I think I know the answer to this one. Will you watch the show tonight?
What show?
The playoff show.
Netflix? No. We got a radio show. I don't know what time it's on, but I'm sure my kids or something will call me or tell me something if there's something noteworthy. So no, is that the answer to your question? No, I don't know when it is. Or
the second part of the question is the more important one. What would you consider a successful outcome tonight for your football program?
I have no idea. There's no the outcome of whatever is on tonight or whatever happens tonight. I don't know that there is an outcome. I think it's obviously great for TV. It's great for attention of college football, and it's great for the fans. And you know, what does it do for us in our program? I don't think it does anything, but gives some more talking points, gives one way or the other. I mean, someone's going to be disappointed, somebody's going to be excited. Which one you are, I don't know. That's why I try not to worry about it. But I don't know that it means a whole lot. And I know it does to the fans. I know it does to the outside things. And I'm not denying that fact. That if you weren't in the mix, then you know you wouldn't care either, right? But the idea that it has some bearing on how we go about our business, it doesn't. And you know, but I can't control and say, okay, they didn't call me and ask me to say, hey, you sure we should do this show tonight? You know, we just want to get your opinion. So, nope, they didn't ask.
You mentioned the halftime adjustments. I know you don't have a ton of time in there. How much can you actually do in a halftime to change the game plan coming into the game?
You know, you obviously do things on the sideline, and you're making adjustments out there. And then there's a lot of times you say, hey, now let's don't try to make some adjustment where we can't really sit down and make sure everybody's on the same page. You know, so sometimes your little adjustments are done during timeouts or you know, obviously when the other side has the ball. You know, but really a lot of the bigger adjustments and things you might want to go to are left a bit to halftime, even if it's only 8-10 minutes that you have. At least you have it where you've got captive audience and you hear one voice, whether it's with the coaches or with the players, so that everybody's on the same page. And I think that's, you know, the signs of, you know, not just good coaches, but a mature team that can go in there, understand, okay, this is what they've really done. You know, sometimes you got to get the stuff from up top to really kind of draw it up to show some guys and you know, be able to make those little adjustments, both offensive, defensive, and special teams wise as well. And you know, I think that, you know, how the games have gone a lot this year, I think that we've been forced to make some of those adjustments at halftime, and you know, it's paying off.
Keith asked about this with game day, but just the overall weekend, how big is that when you talk about momentum and energy in a program to have game day here, a national TV game, it's homecoming, it's sold out. I mean, it just feels like this is everything that's been built up.
It is, and you know, like I said, it's great for our community, it's great for our campus, it's great for our program. You know, but everybody gets to enjoy that. The thing that we got to make sure we continue to do is focus on the task at hand. And so it's awesome, but there's also a lot of distractions that come along with it. And you know, that's where you got to continue to rely upon the maturity of the guys that you got, and you know, not be, you know, I say get wore out, and I don't mean physically wore out. I mean mentally wore out with all the different things that can go on. I think that's what you see as you go through a season. You know, those tough, hard games that are fought, especially on the road. You know, yeah, your body's physically, but I mean, these guys, they you know, get a cold tub, get a hot tub, you know, whatever. Their bodies are okay come Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It's the mind that you know, throughout the process that continues to get wore down, because there's one thing that doesn't rest and doesn't rest enough. At least, you know, myself as well as the players is some way to rest your mind. So that more than anything, you know, you can perform at the highest level.
You always talk about playing your best ball at the end of the year. These last couple of games have been closer than I think you'd like. What is the key to playing your best ball at the end of the year?
It's complementary football. It's playing in all three phases of the game. It's being able to make adjustments and adapt. It's being able to play a triple option team one week, come back and prepare for a spread team the next week. Maybe they throw it differently in there and they play some wildcat and some different things and make adjustments there. That's why I said that I'm really proud of what those guys did and how they played. I mean, maybe some people thought it, you know, we should have won bigger or prettier or whatever. I look at it as, okay, how do we play the game? How were we special teams wise? What did we do turnover? Are we playing more consistent and clean in what we're doing? And regardless of what the score is, sometimes that's not indicative of how you played. And you know, to win the turnover margin the way we did, to win the battle of field position the way we did last week. I know that we should, you know, and I think that we had a better football team, but the better team doesn't always win the game. It's the team that plays the best. And, you know, they did the things. I mean, I think we had maybe 3 penalties last week, where that had been something that's kind of been a little bit of Achilles heel for us. We went back against Navy and had 12, where, you know, we were last year, and the things we had to improve on. So when you're saying, are you playing your best ball? It's can you continue to be consistent in what you do? Maybe the score isn't always indicative of what that is.
How frustrating is the last 2 weeks teams have been slowing it down on you? Just to see teams kind of change it up and kind of follow that Murray State, vibe the last few weeks.
Well, it's frustrating, because you let them in some ways, and regardless of, did they huddle, did they take their time a little bit more? They also, jumped on you with a little bit of tempo. I think the one touchdown play was a tempo play that they hit us on, and so it's a part of people's plans. Meaning, whatever it is that they do. I mean, it wasn't like they slowed it down because they got first downs. In the first half, our offense had one possession, and our offense had a 99-yard drive in the first half, 18 plays or something. So it's not like it was just them that slowed it down. They kept the big play from happening on their defense, which, I mean, we had 18-play drive for a touchdown. I don't know what more you can ask for. Yeah, it might take 8 minutes, but some of those things are how you try to evaluate it, and you don't always look at just the scoreboard to say how did the game really come out. Well, we thought somebody thought you should have won by this many. Well, let's really look at it, and so a lot of those things are different, and are they playing us different? Yeah, maybe in little ways, but it's also our job to get off the field on defense to not allow them to kind of slow the things down a little bit. If they can, then we got to be able to adjust and adapt too.
It was a season high rushing attempts and yards for Dez against Tulane. Was that deliberate? Was that him reacting to what the defense was giving him?
Well, it's a little bit more of reacting. I think that I think from the past 2 weeks, I think we say when you do go, we got to be a little bit more aggressive. But nonetheless, I think that they did a good job at taking away some of the inside runs and maybe forcing him to pull it a little bit more. And there aren't a whole lot of other legitimately called runs. It's a lot going to be a fall on the shoulders of him based on how people are playing us.
Is it fair our defense is trying to take away those deep passes? Is that an adjustment you've seen over the course of the season? Well,
I mean, it also comes down to what are you comfortable continue to do? I mean, we can throw some of the intermediate things so well, and are they staying on top? Are they doing? I mean, in last week's game, it was a physical game. They didn't call a whole lot of things, and so as you get into the game, if they're allowing you to be a little more physical on the outsides and things, it's probably not. Maybe you don't have as many opportunities thinking that they're 50-50 balls or 60-40 or even with Pierce sometimes 70-30 balls that just how the game is. So you got to in some of those ways you got to be able to take what they can give you.
I've been blown away by Darian Beavers' transformation and growth as a player, but I also didn't get to see him as much as you do. He's now a Buckets Award semifinalist, which shows just how much he's grown. Have you all been just blown away or surprised by his growth?
Yeah, I think he is taken a different dedication going to this past year. And I think, not that he didn't last year, but I remember at camp, he was one of the first guys that came with all the COVID stuff that was going on, and he realized, he's like, I need another year. And I don't know how this thing's going to go, but in his mind was that, hey, I could play 4 games and then have another year. And I know that's when it first told me, like, his passion for the game of football has changed a bit. He recognizes what he can do, recognizes what he hasn't quite done yet and what he needs to do. And obviously the uniqueness of, what the NCAA came out with last year when they told you that you could play and not count against you. He had already in his mind thought about those things about, okay, now this is where I want to be, this is where I am, this is what I got to do, and I think I need a little more time. And I think since that time you've seen a different dedication, not to just playing the game, but and how he trained and taking care of his body and things like that. And, it's paying off.
Any more questions?
Early in the fourth quarter, Dez's helmet came off. You were up 21-12, and Prater ended up coming in the game, but you called a timeout. Did you call that timeout to get Dez back in the game because of the uncertainty around Prater, or because of the situation?
What was the situation?
You were up 21-12. The fourth quarter had just started. It was 3rd down and 10.
Third and 10.
You were about.
That's the bigger situation. That it was 3rd and 10. The score didn't really matter. The time, whatever that is. 3rd and 10. I don't care who it is that's getting ready to walk in there. That's not going to be one that you want to say that, just let's throw this guy in there for his first snap of the game and let him try to come after something that's, on a 3rd and 10 situation. So yeah, I thought at that point in time it was in our best interest to keep him back in, and not just because we don't think that Prater can do it, but my goodness, I don't want to throw a guy into a situation where it's, you know, complete, you know, all or nothing. You know, I mean, we got to be smart with some of those guys to put them in situations, and we haven't had some of those opportunities for him to play a little bit more, and as we would like, meaning, you know, he's been thrown in there where don't want him to, you know, throw the football a whole lot because of the game the way it is, but more of a combination of things. Just, you know, it's not fair to the kid to throw him in there at that point in time and, you know, be judged all on one situation like that too.
You good? Thanks.